Hi everyone, I'm Donna Stellhorn, your practical astrologer, and today we are talking about the full moon. It's on October 6th, it's at 14 degrees of Aries, and now that eclipse season is done, now comes the time of opportunities. And so let's talk about how to take hold of those opportunities. So let's take a look at the chart, and what we have is the full moon, which is of course right here. I'm still learning how to draw. And so with this full moon chart, we look at what kind of aspects it's making and what else is going on in the chart. And very specifically, the things that are jumping out at me, let me get rid of those blue lines, is that we've got Mercury here at 0 degrees and then Neptune here at 0 degrees. Now 0 degrees is a very interesting energy, because different than 1 degrees and 2 degrees, 0 is all possibilities. There's a myriad of possibilities, and it can feel so much so that it's overwhelming. And having two planets in this position, and exactly in an inconjunct, and both of them ruled by Mars, because the Mercury in Scorpio is ruled by Mars, and the Neptune in Aries, of course, is ruled by Mars. And in this chart, we have Mars in Scorpio, feels very at home in Scorpio. So here you have an ability to take action, but you have all of these possible things that you can do. And all of them are going to take a little bit of work, because even though the Neptune can give you the idea that you could just slide right in, that it's easy, and the Mercury says, here are the steps to take, so you know what to do, it still has enough of an effort to it that it's going to be different. And that's the thing that the eclipse wanted us to do anyway, is to end something that we're familiar with and try something new. And so this chart really epitomizes that. And because it's a full moon chart, everything's lit up. It's right here to say, look, over the last couple of weeks, the universe has been saying, here you go, here you go. And maybe now is the time that you can say, oh yeah, there's enough light here, there's enough energy here, I see the possibilities, and I'm going to grab hold of it. Another really interesting part of this chart is the Venus sitting right there with the South Node. So Venus is what we want and what we like and what we think will be comfortable and delicious, and the South Node is the familiar. So right there we have this desire to stay with what we know. And yet with these two planets at 0 degrees and this full moon saying the energy is very high, now's really the time to say, what can I do that's different? What's the different path I can take? How can I think differently? How can I take a different route, to what I want to do? With an astrology reading, you get more information about who you are, your talents and abilities. You get to see what obstacles are ahead, and you can get a game plan for how to get past those obstacles and find success. So if you're interested in having a reading, there's a link in the description. Okay, let's take a look at your sign. Okay, Leo, your short-term opportunity, the one that's kind of fleeting, is around some connection with a family member. And it may be connected to home or real estate, so maybe someone wants to help you with something to do with your home, or help you move, or help you buy a home, or something that helps you feel more secure at home. And this opportunity coming together with this person, maybe you don't normally get along so well, but now you do. Or maybe this is the most helpful person all of the time, and they just want to constantly help you, which is great. Now, your longer term opportunities are around education, and that means that over this next few weeks or even months, you could get some opportunities for funding for an education, of getting into the school you want to get into, or finding an accelerated program of something you want to study, finding good teachers or good advisors for yourself or a family member. All of that can happen with this aspect. Now, when it comes to relationships, the interesting thing about this whole chart is there's not very many aspects going on. And it's so interesting because these eclipses that we just did were so incredibly intense that I think it's really kind of a balance now that there's hardly any aspects during this time, which means that it's just kind of a lull in the energy. It's like everyone's just trying to recover. And so, but all of that said, you, Leo, are doing one of the few aspects when it comes to existing love relationships, and that is the Sun is making a sesquiquadrate to Uranus. And that means that you and your partner, you are coming from very different ideas, and this may be based on different backgrounds, upbringings, or just you're defining words differently, and that could cause a little point of contention between the two of you. And if you keep in mind, we may be discussing different things, or we may have different goals in this situation, or we may just not be understanding the other person, then suddenly you can solve the problem. The problem just dissolves. Now, when it comes to your money, you pull money from Mercury, which is in the sign of Scorpio, and this happens about once a year. And it's a time to focus on money from a different perspective, because most of the time we're thinking about income. But this is a time to think about assets and debt, and how to get rid of debt and how to build assets, and maybe to take a couple of weeks and really focus on paying down debt or finding other sources of income, especially any sort of money that could come to you through something free, some sort of gift of money. That's where to focus. And as you focus on that, then that energy expands and it's easier to see those opportunities. So this is a time to be thinking about, where is the money and how can I get it? Now, when it comes to money from business and even from your career, the lack of aspects still is the feature of this chart. But you, again, are doing an aspect, which you're I think the only sign so far that I've seen that is doing two aspects, and that is that the Mercury is making an inconjunct with Neptune. Now, inconjunct, not the easiest of aspects, and this is about going and doing the thing you don't want to do, and that's the thing that brings the money. So if it's the accounting that you don't want to do, or the marketing, or the cold calls, or whatever it is, that's the thing that's going to bring the money, whether you are working for a job or working for yourself, doing the thing that's a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit maybe unpleasant. That's the path for money over this next 2 weeks. And I think maybe this is connected to the idea of when you do something that's uncomfortable for a while, it becomes comfortable. And so maybe working on the website makes you uncomfortable, but after a while, you're great at the website. And the same with accounting, or the same with the cold calls, and things like that. Today's tutorial is a blast from the past, especially for those of you who miss my long hair and want to know about your rising sign. Here you go. I'm Donna Stellhorn, and here are 3 things you may not know about your rising sign. Number 1, your rising sign is based on your time of birth and location of birth, and the rising sign changes every 2 hours. And so over a 24-hour period, we will go through all 12 rising signs, which means that sometimes even twins have different rising signs. Number 2, your rising sign is how you appear to others, and so they may see you as your rising sign more than your sun sign. Rising signs can also affect your appearance, and so you might find that you look more like your rising sign. For example, Taurus can have a gap in their teeth, or Virgo might have very long, beautiful fingers, or Scorpio has very piercing eyes. This is based on the rising sign, not on the sun sign. And number 3, if your sun sign and your rising sign are the same, then you're a double. And that means that what we see is what we get. That's awesome.